Have you ever noticed something strange about the money in your pocket? It has no intrinsic value. It isn't backed by gold. It isn't redeemable for anything tangible. And yet, it governs almost every decision you make. You wake up early for it. You exchange years of your life for it. You follow laws because of it. You fear losing it more than losing many freedoms. Welcome to its financial history too. Here is the mystery most people never truly stop to question. Why does modern currency work at all? Not how banks move it, not how governments regulate it, but why a printed note or a digital number holds so much power over billions of people. The uncomfortable answer is this: modern currency works only if you never question trust. The moment trust cracks, money does not slowly weaken. It collapses. This is not a story about economics textbooks or financial jargon. This is the story of money as a belief system, fragile, invisible, and entirely dependent on human confidence. And by the end of this video, you may realize that money is not backed by gold, governments, or even banks. It is backed by your belief that tomorrow will look enough like today. For most of human history, money did not require faith. Gold was valuable because it was scarce. Silver held worth because it could not be created at will. Land produced food. Livestock reproduced. Value was visible. If a king fell, the metal in your hand did not disappear with him. But physical money had limits. It was heavy to transport, slow to move, difficult to divide. And most importantly, it restricted expansion. Empires wanted to grow faster than metal allowed. So humans invented representation. In ancient China, paper money emerged as a promise, a claim on real goods stored elsewhere. In medieval Europe, goldsmiths issued receipts for deposited gold. Those receipts began circulating as money because carrying paper was easier than carrying metal. At first, the system was honest. Every note represented something real. Then someone asked a dangerous question: what if everyone doesn't come back for their gold at the same time? That question quietly reshaped the world. Banks realized they could lend out most of the deposited gold while keeping only a fraction in reserve. As long as people trusted the system, it worked. The receipts circulated. The gold stayed put. This was the birth of fractional reserve banking. Money was no longer a thing. It became a promise layered on top of another promise. Governments quickly understood the power of this system. Wars were expensive. Empires required constant funding. Gold was finite. Paper promises were not. Central banks emerged, not merely to manage money, but to manage confidence. Their true role was never just printing currency. It was preserving belief. Currency slowly stopped being backed by metal. It became backed by stability, authority, and trust. The 20th century accelerated everything. World wars forced governments to suspend gold redemption. The Bretton Woods system temporarily anchored global currencies to the US dollar and the dollar to gold. But even that system depended on trust. In 1971, the final connection was severed. The dollar became pure fiat, backed by nothing tangible. And because the world used the dollar, the world inherited that trust. From that moment on, money became entirely abstract. No physical backing, no promise of redemption, only confidence that everyone else would accept it tomorrow. Credit expanded faster than production. Debt became normal. Inflation was renamed growth, and for decades, the system worked. Not because it was stable, but because it was unquestioned. People trusted that salaries would arrive. They trusted stores would accept currency. They trusted banks would open tomorrow. Trust became invisible, and therefore dangerous. Because trust does not break loudly at first, it fractures quietly. Prices rise faster than wages. Savings lose purchasing power. Housing becomes unreachable. Debt grows faster than economies. People are told this is normal. Then something subtle changes. Central banks stop trying to grow economies. They start trying to prevent collapse. Money is created not for innovation, but for survival. Interest rates fall to zero, then below zero. Emergency measures become permanent tools. Each intervention stabilizes the system temporarily while weakening belief underneath. Because every rescue sends a silent message. This system cannot survive without constant support. Trust begins to change form. People no longer trust money to store value. They trust it only to move quickly, spend it fast, convert it to assets, borrow aggressively, escape inflation. The currency still functions, but the relationship has changed. History shows exactly what happens next. Weimar Germany did not collapse because people stopped using money. It collapsed because people stopped believing in it. Zimbabwe did not fall because printing money existed. It fell because trust vanished almost overnight. When belief breaks, money does not slow down. It accelerates. Velocity explodes, prices surge, savings evaporate. And the cruel truth becomes visible. Money does not fail gradually. It fails suddenly. Governments respond with controls, withdrawal limits, price caps, forced conversions, digital tracking. Each control is meant to restore stability. Each one accelerates distrust. Because money only works when participation feels voluntary. The moment it feels enforced, belief collapses. Every modern crisis follows the same pattern. Too much debt leads to more debt. Inflation leads to redefining inflation. Loss of confidence leads to reassurance speeches. But trust does not respond to words. It responds to lived experience. If food doubles in price, trust ignores official statistics. If rent consumes half a salary, trust ignores growth charts. You can manipulate numbers. You cannot command belief. Look around the modern world. Global debt exceeds global productivity. Currencies are created faster than goods. Central banks openly admit they are experimenting. Digital currencies promise convenience but demand deeper trust than ever before. Cashless systems remove escape routes. And yet the system continues. Why? Because most people still believe tomorrow will function. They believe salaries will be paid. They believe stores will accept money. They believe governments will somehow hold things together. This belief is the final reserve, and it is invisible. Money is not a neutral tool. It is a social agreement disguised as mathematics. Systems do not collapse when spreadsheets fail. They collapse when belief disappears. Questioning money is not dangerous. Ignoring its fragility is. Every major monetary collapse in history was preceded by normalization. People noticed the cracks, then accepted them, then assumed they were permanent. Modern currency does not require gold. It does not require balance. It does not even require honesty. It requires silence. As long as people do not question trust, it survives. So here's the question that decides everything. What happens when enough people finally do? If this perspective made you see money differently, don't let the thought stop here. Subscribe for more deep explorations into money, power, and hidden systems. Like the video so it reaches others who have never questioned the rules they live under. And leave a comment below. Do you think trust is strengthening? Or quietly breaking right now? Because once trust is gone, no amount of currency can bring it back.